Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sensei Lewis with a one of our live videos here on the late night. Hopefully, you guys up hanging out with Sensei Lewis here. All right, so in this video, what I wanted to discuss with everyone is, it's been going on late in the last few days in the media. There have been several of them within the last few years. They've been going on for a few years, a few decades right now, right? And they seem to be getting more and more frequent. And I mean, I guess they're all bad. You know what I mean? They're all bad because there are always multiple victims in them all. You know what I'm saying? So what I wanted to do is give you some, how you can prepare yourself and be aware in an active shooter situation, and even prepare yourself, and be aware before an event was to take place. Hopefully you never experienced that. Hopefully none of us ever experienced that. But it's happening so much, it's best to be prepared and be aware. So I'm going to talk about some things that you can do, how you can apply your martial arts. Not necessarily although there is a part where techniques can get involved, but the conceptual part of your martial arts, right? The conceptual part of your martial arts to an active shooter, mass shooter situation. In other words, if you no matter what school you go to, if you go into a good martial arts school, then not only has your sensei prepared you for physical combat, but they should also prepare you on how to avoid danger in the first place, how to avoid a confrontation, how to, if you can, de-escalate, or how to, like I said, or how to get away from having to engage in physical confrontation in the first place. So that's the part that I want to talk to you about, where we can apply, our martial arts, a portion of our martial arts skill, which is the portion that teaches you how to avoid getting into a fight in the first place, right? You want to use your physical skills as a last resort. If you can avoid, if you can de-escalate, if you can get out of there before trouble starts, that's the optimal choice, right? So I wanted to talk about that and kind of give people some tips and help on how to avoid the active shooter situation. And if you get caught in one, how you can do your best to survive and stay alive. Okay. So one of the first things I'm going to do. So for example, let's use, let me see, I'm going to turn the camera around. Okay. So although this is my small in-home dojo right here, right? We're going to use this as our frame of reference. So just, look at this room, look at the dojo room, but just what I'm telling you here, just apply it to your office building or Walmart or some other supermarket or mall or something like that, okay? So the first thing you want to do, how many of you have seen The Bourne Identity, right? I'm sure many of you are fans of the movie The Bourne Identity. I am too. I can't remember which one it was. Excuse me. It might have been part 2 or part 1, but I forgot. But basically, it's where the part where Jason Bourne, he goes into, I think it's like a hotel lobby, either a hotel lobby or business building lobby, and he sits in the lobby and he was talking about how he scopes out the situation. He'll take a seat, he'll take a seat somewhere and he'll scope out. He'll look for exits, right? He'll observe people, say, oh, that guy looks like he can handle himself. Such and such guy looks this way, such and such person looks like that. There's a back door right there. He looks at this person right there standing over here. He'll do things like he would do things like that, right? And that's also part of your training. That's also part of your martial arts skill training, or it should be, regardless of the style. That should be part of it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, you could so when you walk into a place, right? If I walk into let's say, and by the way, with Walmart, a lot of these shootings have been taking place at Walmarts, so this is something you could be aware of. The first thing is that a lot of Walmarts are, let me bring it back to me. A lot of Walmarts are designed the same way. So that's one good thing about Walmart. So no matter what, usually what I've seen, no matter what Walmart I go to in whatever city, whatever state, their setup is pretty much the same, right? When you go in, you see that the you have the you see that the you have the two entrances. Usually, you got the entrance that's near the pharmacy, and then you got the entrance that's near the produce, the fruits, the vegetables. And you walk straight up in there, and you as you walk in, that's where the food is at, right? Usually, the food as you walk in, the food may be right to your left. As soon as you walk in, you're gonna see the fresh fruits, fresh vegetables and things like that. And as you walk up, usually you're going to get the frozen section, right? The frozen section might be right there. As you pass the frozen section, then you're going to get into the, excuse me, man, it's late, right? You're going to get into the canned goods and the other different sections, the bread, and then you get the cereals, and then you got the snack aisle, and you got the drinks and the water, and then, and then you get to the back, and there's the dairy, the cheese, and all that kind of things like that. And then on to your right side, this is when you walk in. Then on your right side, you got the clothes, right? Men's clothes, women's clothes, children. You go to the back, there's the electronics and things like that. Further over is the toys and the bikes and the workout equipment and things like that, right? So with a lot of Walmarts, and then it may be switched up here and there. Sometimes the frozen section may be in the back, and it may be in the back instead of in the front. So but more or less it's still the same. Now with Walmart, there aren't a lot of windows, right? Other than maybe in the front, right? Maybe in the front there may be some windows, maybe not. So usually with Walmart, your escape routes, if you walk in there, your escape route is either going to be if there's an active shooter situation, would be if they come in and they just start shooting, is to try to get around them to get out back through the front entrance. Another exit or another way to get out, it would be get through the garden section, right? There's always the garden section at Walmart's. If you can find your way to it, is through the garden section. If you can't get that because of the shooter is active in that area, then of course you can try to make your way to the back of the Walmart. Get through the back, get to the warehouse where they keep all the stocks and supplies, and try to make your way out of that. Some Walmarts also have the auto section, right? The auto parts where they have they may have a Walmart auto shop, or at least a Walmart tire shop where they do tires and things like that. That's also an escape route. So basically, when you go into any store or any place or any building, is to be aware of the escape route. So let me take it back again. So let's say I'm walking again. Use this and just use your imagination to make it to fit to you, whatever the situation. So as you walk into any place, I walk in immediately, right? You want to scope out people, look down, right? Scope out people. Right? Look down, check, see if he got anything in his hands. Right? So don't just look at his face, but as you look down, check, see if he got any. Of course, this is the Bob, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you look down, see if he got anything in his hands. Then immediately look for escape routes. Okay, I see there's a door right there. Something goes wrong. Window. Hey, if I got to get out that window, hey, I may have to jump out that window, break the window, get out. Or if the window can open, get out. You know what I'm saying? I see the escape routes. I'm like, okay, right? I figured that out. You see? So, right. So the first thing you do, he's still my sensei. He's still my sensei. I teach myself now, but of course, if I ever go up to New York and visit, I'll still work out. But back to what I was saying. So that's the first thing you do as you walk in. As you walk into the place, right? Immediately scope out people. Scope out. I see there's a door right there. If something goes down, I can escape through that door. Okay, there's a window, more windows, more ways to escape. So really, my only options, if something was to go down here, is to either make my way through that door, and if I really gotta get out, those windows. I'm out the windows, right? Like so, and you check people out. Now, if you're already in the store, say I'm already in the store, right? Let me see. Say I'm already in the store, in the place or whatever the case may be, right? You got to do it, people. Unfortunately, you got to start scoping people out as they walk in. So if I'm already in the place and I see somebody walking, I'll take a look. You know what I mean? I might take a look. Somebody behind me, I look, I watch and say, okay, take a look. Right, dude's behind me, And again, check the hands. A lot of people always looking in people's face. When you take a look and look down to see, look and look down. Look down, see if they got anything in their hands. Right? See if they got anything in their hands. So if you're already in a place and people are coming in, they're coming in behind you or whatever, or you're standing in line or you shopping around, don't become oblivious to what's around you. If you're shopping and you're checking out things and you're looking at stuff on the counters and you always take a look to see who's around you. Take a moment to pause, see who's around you. Yeah, I'm looking for this item here, whatever type of clothes, or I'm looking for the particular food brand or whatever. Take a moment, take a look at people. And if you see people walking, take a moment to pause and take a look. And again, always pause, take a look at what's in their hands, right? Take a look down. And go back to your business, take a look down, right? In other words, you're looking down to see what's in their hands, okay? But the main thing is you always, you got to be aware, people. We got to start being aware. Everybody, men, women, we can't take it lightly, right? These things are happening too much, and to avoid becoming a victim, you got to be aware of your surroundings. Right, so that's a part of should be a part of any martial arts training is awareness, right? In a combat situation, one-on-one, you're aware of where your opponent's at, right? In a situation like this, it still can apply where you got to be aware of your surroundings. If you're in a restaurant, right? Say you're in a restaurant. Another thing to do at restaurants is I got this advice from Malcolm X, right? Malcolm X talked about how whenever he would be in a restaurant, he would always sit so he could face the door. No matter where he's at in the restaurant, he would always position himself so he'd always have an eye on the door, right? So take that, utilize that same advice, right? Utilize that same advice that if you're in a restaurant, try to position yourself, even if you're out with your family, make sure that you position yourself so you can be aware of, everybody who you have to take care of. But position yourself so, you're always facing the door, right? No matter where where you sit in the restaurant, if you can help it, try to face yourself where you're always facing the door so you can always see who's coming in or out, right? Who's coming in the door. You eating your food, take a look up, watch people coming in, right? And the same thing with restaurants, be aware of the surroundings, right? As soon as you walk in, look and see where the exits are, right? What other ways you can get out of there if something was to go down, right? Can I get out, through this door, that door, the back door, through the kitchen? Look and see emergency exits, all things like that. So no matter where you are, whether you go to the mall, the movie theater, restaurants, supermarkets, places like Walmart that are a combination of supermarkets and shopping, be aware of the exit and entryways. Okay, be aware of, where the windows are. If it's a place where there aren't many windows, then be aware of where the exits are. So that way, if something goes down, you can get out of there and keep yourself safe, your family safe, and others safe as well. Always observe people who are coming in, especially but in and out. Observe people. Don't forget, watch, take a look down. Right, as you see people, look down at the hands to see what do they have in their hands. Right, and they have knife, handgun. Of course, in the most recent incidents, the guys, they had AR-15, so very visible weapon. But you got to watch but you got to be aware because in some places you may have seen these videos where they have people who are whatever trying to exercise, which is I respect that, what they're trying to exercise their Second Amendment rights. So you see these people walking around with AR-15s on the street. Well, so even in that situation, you got to be on guard, right? Because you don't know you don't know if he's trying to exercise, if he's just trying to exercise his rights, or if he's getting ready to do something. So with situations like that, be on guard, right? Be on guard. And I would say now, don't even take that lightly. If you need to call the police, so be it, right? If you got to call the police just to make sure that everything is cool. If you see somebody walking around with an AR-15, then so be it. Don't take it lightly and be like, oh, he's just exercising his right. In this day and time, we gotta call. You're gonna have to call the police just to prevent anything from happening. Don't take it like that. Hey, they're just exercising their right. All right. So those are the main pointers. And another thing too, see, is these are just the tips, right? These are just tips and information. You see, you really don't know how you act until you're put in that situation, which is why if there are any active shooter classes or training in your area, you might want to avail yourself to it, because it's the same way with your martial arts training, right? That's why sparring and drills are important, because you can learn the knowledge, you can learn the technique, but you have to be put under stress test in order to make sure that, in order to train your body and your muscle memory and your brain and your reaction and all of that to deal with the situation if it presents itself. So learning the skill and the technique and the information is good, but you have to be put under stress test, meaning you gotta be put to the test on these things. You gotta drill yourself. You gotta go through the experience. So drills. So if there are any active shooter training courses in your area, I recommend you avail yourself of those. Master Kareem has been offering actual active shooter training classes. I myself am going to start offering those here in the Atlanta area as well. We also, we'll be willing to travel if you want us to come out to your business or your school or your restaurant, whatever places are interested in having active shooter training for their place of business or their school or their organization or whatever the case may be. We are going to make ourselves available to travel. If you're in the Atlanta area, then of course we're in the area already. But, that's important to be able to go through some type of stress test. Because again, the knowledge and the information of these things is good, but that's only one part of it. You got to put yourself through what they call the stress test in order to prepare yourself that if said situation takes place, you can then react properly under the duress of that situation. But as I said, at least for the initial part of it, make sure when you walk into places, scope out the area immediately for entry and exit ways, because the entryway can also be the exit. If it's blocked, if the shooter is in that area, you can't get out, then make sure you scope out the situation before, so that we say, okay, look, we can't go back out the way we came in, but I know if we make it to the back door, the back of the Walmart or the back of the restaurant, the kitchen, the back of the mall or whatever, there's a way out there. You scoped out where the exits are. If you're in a movie theater situation, usually a lot of movie theaters will have at least two exits, towards the screen, right? Towards the front of the screen, you might see two exits right there. But be aware of where the exits are, so that way if something goes off, you can either make it out through those doors or back out the way you came in. Remember to always scope out, right? To always scope out people, right? You see somebody, right? Take a look down, right? Look down, face, look down, check his hands, see what's in their hands, see if they're carrying anything. If people are fumbling around in their pockets, take a look, right? Take a look, make sure, see what are they pulling out of their pockets, right? So those are just a few tips to, make yourself aware and prepared for a situation, and be ready to get out of there, right? Be ready to get out of there. Okay. If you're trapped in buildings or whatever the case may be, and the last part of it is this. The last part is this: if you're trapped, right? If you're trapped and there is no way, I hope, there should be a way out, but you could find yourself where you may be trapped, where you can't make it get to the exit or whatever the case may be. They recommend that you try to hide, right? You try to hide somewhere, okay? Try to hide, and hopefully, the person who's the shooter doesn't shoot where you're hiding at or can't find you. So if you're trapped, you try to hide until the coast is clear. The last option for you is if all of those things fail, the hiding, or the awareness of the escape routes, can't escape. You tried to hide. He found you. Your last option is to fight for your life, right? Your last option is to fight for your life, or at least go out fighting if you have to, right? To go out fighting if you have to, and you never know. Sometimes you come out on top, but that's your last option. And again, that takes training. There are techniques that especially without we learn how to do gun disarms, whether it be handguns or rifles and things like that. There are techniques that you can, remove the weapon from the person, turn it back against them, or at least get it out of their hand. Now, if you take that route, something to be mindful of is that if you do the disarm of the person, make sure that you disarm it and get the gun away from the person, but try to get the gun, perhaps after you get it, disarm the gun, right? Take out the clip, if you know how to operate guns, remove the clip, get the bullet out of the chamber or whatever the case may be. The reason why I say that is because you don't want to be mistaken for the shooter. If law enforcement arrives, or, in some states where there are people who carry guns, you don't want to be mistaken for the shooter. So if you disarm the person, of course, make sure they're subdued in the various ways that you have to, depending on what their response is to you disarming them. And be aware that too, they may have other weapons on them. You may disarm the firearm, but they may have a knife on them, or maybe if they had the rifle, you took the rifle, they have they have a handgun. So be aware of that. If you disarm them, be aware that they may have another weapon. So you may have to use their weapon against them. And if you have to, so be it. I say so be it. If you have to use it against them, if you have to use lethal force against them, then so be it. But in any case, once that's taken care of and clear, be sure to disarm them if it's safe to do so. If the person is already subdued, disarm the weapon. You might want to put the weapon down. Of course, put it down away from them or anybody else. But this is to keep yourself safe so that you're not mistaken as the shooter, right? You don't want to be mistaken for the shooter. So that's just something to be aware of there. All right. So, that's just a little advice that I wanted to give people, since we've been seeing all these unfortunate active shooter situations, and they seem to be becoming more and more frequent. These are just some tips from a self-defense expert on how you can keep yourself aware. First, preparedness and awareness. Okay, so this is the preparedness part, where I'm giving you the knowledge on what you can do to be prepared. That as you go out, be aware of situations, right? Be aware of the situation. Market, the mall. Be aware of exit and entry ways, windows, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So that way you can get out of there. Also, too, you can scope out that too. If something happens, okay, look, I might be able to hide here, might be able to hide there. You know what I mean? Things like that. And I would say avail yourselves, and the last resort is to fight for your life. Avail yourselves of some self-defense schools in your area. Of course, if you're here in Atlanta, come on and give me a call. But wherever you are around the world, or, in your city, your state, take some martial art class. But of course, I would say that make sure that they're going to teach you that school is geared towards self-defense. You want to go to a school that's geared towards self-defense, right? Make sure, for this type of training, the school needs to be geared towards self-defense. Some schools will teach you, they're teaching you Olympic tournament style. Some schools are into like the tournament thing, right? Other schools are geared towards self-defense. So pick a school that's going to get you trained for this type of situation, which is self-defense. Not tournaments, not sport competition, martial arts, but real life situations that you're going to have to deal with on the streets and out in the environment that we live in. Okay. And therefore, and also to make sure that they're going to teach you things that have to deal with guns. Our school teaches that. We teach you how to disarm firearms, how to disarm handguns, rifles. We teach you how to deal with that, knives, whatever. We teach you. Our school teaches you how to deal with that. So you're going to get a good value for your money if you come on over to the Shinobi Science School of Self-Defense. But of course, there are other schools out there. So I'm saying if you're not in my area and you can't make it, but look for a school that offers those type of things. Okay, everybody? So be safe out there. Remember, be aware. These things are happening too much, too frequently. You got to start being aware. Even if you're not a martial artist, this information can be for people who are even not martial artists, is to start to be aware of your surrounding. Like I said, when people look, if you're in a place, watch people coming in and out. Especially look at their hands. Look what's in their hands. That's the most important thing. Look what's in their hands. When people are coming in and out, watch people, see what's in their hands. Okay? Be aware of exits, entryways, that includes windows and things like that. Okay? So be aware of those things. And like I said, if you want to train with us, come on. I'm here in Atlanta. You can get the information on our website, which you can get through here on YouTube or on my Twitter, Facebook, or on Instagram. We got many ways to get in contact with us. All right. I believe I covered everything right there. So, by the way, yeah. So, I'll end it on that. And guys, again, if you appreciate the lessons and the tips and information that we give you, go on ahead and give us, your support. Join our Patreon page or, make a donation. We greatly appreciate it. We're trying to just put this out to help you. So help us in return to help you. We greatly appreciate it. All right. And you can get to the Patreon and the links to make a donation or whatever through the links in the description of this video and our other videos. All right. So again, I hope that I've given you some information that can help you, whether you're a martial artist or not. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help people to be able to defend themselves. That's our goal. That's my goal. My goal is to train people to help you defend yourself. So I always let people know that's what we do. We don't train for tournaments and competitions and things like that. And there are schools that do that, no problem. My goal is to train you and to train people to be able to defend themselves, to avoid being a victim. All right. So I'm going to end it with that. I appreciate you guys tuning in to watch. Have a good night.